Continuing from the last installment, Lin Dong acquires the legacy of an ancient sect, further augmenting his power. He then ventures deeper into the ruins to face even greater challenges. Beneath the sky, the wind howled as figures rapidly shot through the air, emerging from the distant horizon and swiftly converging around a massive floating island. The island was extraordinarily vast and majestic. Its terrain was crisscrossed with forests and mountain ranges, resembling an ancient land. A wild, primordial energy, brewed by the passage of time, emanated from the ground and rippled through the sky, giving the entire scene an overwhelming sense of grandeur. At a glance, the island stretched so far that its edges were invisible, with the floating figures around it appearing as insignificant as ants. What a sight! Lin Dong, alongside Little Yin, couldn't help but exclaim in awe. Their eyes were filled with amazement. The structures on this island seemed entirely untouched by time, and in the distance, they could still make out the vast martial arts training grounds. One could only imagine how, in its prime, this place must have been filled with tens of thousands of warriors, their battle cries shaking the heavens. Let's go, time to head in. Lin Dong's gaze burned with determination as he stared at the endless ruins of the four grand, profound sects. This was the most important site to have emerged, and now, it was time for them to search for their target, the life and death reincarnation pill. Lin Dong could even sense Little Mink's excitement through the stone talisman. If it could obtain this pill, it would be able to regain its physical body and finally reclaim the peak of its strength. Lin Dong gently ran his fingers across his palm, a slight smile forming on his lips. In a flash, his figure transformed into a streak of light as he shot toward the vast island. At the same time, countless other figures around the island surged forward, unable to contain their excitement. In an instant, the island ruins, which had been silent for countless years, came to life with noise and commotion. Boom! However, as more and more people poured onto the island, the ground suddenly began to tremble. Then, it cracked open, and ancient, dormant energies seemed to awaken, roaring to life. A wave of foul, ominous energy swept out, and in the blink of an eye, several unlucky individuals were torn to shreds, their bodies exploding into misty blood clouds. Not good, watch out. There are still living demon beasts on this island? Amidst the chaos, cries of alarm filled the air as people stared in shock at the razor-sharp claws and fangs erupting from the ground. Their expressions turned grim. Lin Dong and Little Yin were also surprised by the sudden turn of events, but they remained calm. After all, this was the relic of the four grand profound sects. Encountering something unusual was to be expected. As for the newly awakened demon beasts, while their auras were powerful, they weren't enough to stop the crowd. Some might find it troublesome, but Lin Dong and Little Yin were not among them. Little Mink, can you sense the location of the life and death reincarnation pill? In large sects like this, they often had their own alchemy arenas. I can't sense the pill directly, but it's likely stored there. Wherever the alchemy arena is located, there should also be surrounding fields filled with medicinal herbs. Little Mink appeared, its eyes glinting with excitement as it swiftly explained. And on this island, the strongest medicinal scent is coming from that direction. Lin Dong followed the direction Little Mink was pointing and smiled. Without wasting any more words, he and Little Yin transformed into streaks of light, shooting toward the destination. The ruins of the four grand, profound sects were vast, with towering ancient trees filling the forest. Awakened demon beasts roamed at an alarming speed, densely populating the area. As Lin Dong and Little Yin tried to make their way through, they encountered numerous attacks. Though their lives were never in real danger, their speed was still somewhat hindered. What a hassle! Lin Dong shook his head as he watched Little Yin swat away another ancient demon beast with a swing of his staff. More and more people were entering the island now, and since they could sense the direction of the alchemy arena, it was likely that other strong experts could do the same. Everyone knew what the alchemy arena meant to an ancient sect like this. It was a treasure trove of pills that could drive people mad with greed. Surely many powerful individuals were converging on the arena from all directions. If Lin Dong arrived too late and someone else took the life and death reincarnation pill, it would cause no end of trouble for him. Himph, these so-called ancient beasts, buried underground with special techniques, dare to show off in front of Lord Mink? Even their ancestors wouldn't be worthy. Little Mink's eyes flashed coldly. At this point, anyone who dared block its path to the life and death reincarnation pill would be swiftly dealt with. A deep buzzing filled the air as a purple-black light surged out from Little Mink's body, forming the phantom of a heavenly demon mink behind it. In an instant, an overwhelming pressure spread in all directions. As the phantom of the heavenly demon mink appeared, Lin Dong could clearly sense Little Yin stiffen slightly beside him, though he quickly returned to normal. Woo! Under the weight of this terrifying aura, the confused ancient beasts immediately began to tremble. With pitiful cries, they scattered in all directions. You're really relying on this now? Huh, Lin Dong chuckled, glancing at the proud look in Little Mink's eyes. Upon hearing this, Little Mink, who had been ready to gloat, flushed red with embarrassment and retorted angrily, "What do you know? Once Lord Mink regains its physical body, you'll see what I'm really capable of." Lin Dong laughed heartily, but refrained from teasing any further. With a light tap on the tip of a tree branch, his body shot forward once again. Thanks to Little Mink's ability to drive away the confused demon beasts, Lin Dong's pace increased significantly. After about 10 minutes, the oppressive forest finally thinned out, revealing a seemingly endless sea of medicinal herbs ahead. Here, vast fields of spiritual herbs grew in abundance, their rich, intoxicating scent so thick it almost seemed tangible, swirling in the air. What a grand display! Even Lin Dong couldn't help but be awestruck by the sight of the herbal ocean. Cultivating such a massive field would be impossible for most high-level dynasties. The scale of the Tiangang alliance in its prime must have been truly terrifying. At the center of that herbal sea lies the alchemy arena. Little Mink pointed toward the middle of the ocean of herbs. Through the thick medicinal aroma, a large alchemy arena could faintly be seen. Let's go. Lin Dong licked his lips, reluctantly pulling his gaze away from the vast herb fields. Though most of these herbs were no ordinary items, he wasn't well versed in alchemy, so obtaining them wouldn't do him much good. To him, seizing spiritual treasures was far more straightforward than gathering herbs. Thus, Lin Dong and Little Yin swiftly soared over the sea of herbs, heading directly toward the alchemy arena at its center. The alchemy arena was a vast area, and as they landed, the dust on the ground stirred, revealing that it had been sealed for many years. Inside the arena were numerous large pill chambers. Lin Dong casually blasted open the rune seal on one of the doors, and immediately, a flood of nirvana pills poured out, overwhelming the space. The crimson pills filled the air, their powerful nirvana energy rippling upwards. Lin Dong stared at the countless nirvana pills, easily numbering in the millions, and couldn't help but swallow hard. This was just one of the smaller pill chambers within the arena, and yet it contained such a vast quantity. He couldn't even begin to fathom the scale of the pill resources this place must hold. Faced with such an abundance of nirvana pills, even Lin Dong's breathing grew heavier, his eyes tinged with a faint red. Without further hesitation, he activated his cosmic bag, and the pills flowed into it like an unstoppable torrent. In just a few short minutes, nearly 2 million nirvana pills had been swept into Lin Dong's cosmic bag, a harvest so massive it left him speechless. As Lin Dong was collecting the pills, the sound of rushing wind finally reached his ears. Figures began to descend upon the alchemy arena, and when they saw the sea of crimson pills flooding out of the chamber, their bodies froze in shock. In the next moment, their eyes turned blood red with greed. My heavens, nirvana pills! These are all nirvana pills. Frenzied roars echoed through the arena, filled with an uncontrollable mix of awe and ecstasy. Let's go. Lin Dong glanced at the nearly deranged individuals but didn't linger. He knew how valuable the nirvana pills were, especially for someone at his current nirvana stage, but now was not the time to waste here. His figure shot out like lightning, his gaze fixed on the depths of the arena. There, in the largest pill chamber, he could faintly sense a powerful energy fluctuation, one that even made his heart skip a beat. The life and death reincarnation pill must be in there. As more figures rushed toward the alchemy arena from all directions, their breathing became heavy, clearly stunned by the sheer abundance of nirvana pills. One by one, their eyes turned bloodshot. In the next instant, they began to violently break into the pill chambers, and torrents of crimson nirvana pills surged out. The overwhelming nirvana energy in the air almost seemed to take on a tangible form. Everyone stared at the floods of pills pouring from the chambers, gulping in disbelief. What followed was a near-frenzied plundering. As expected, the mad scramble for pills led to brutal battles breaking out. Most of the people here had already lost their reason, utterly consumed by the vast resources of nirvana pills. For nirvana stage experts, these pills were invaluable. Only by possessing enough nirvana energy could they continue tempering their bodies and primordial energy, giving them the strength to withstand the next nirvana tribulation. During normal cultivation, the nirvana energy they could absorb was but a meager trickle. If they wanted to speed up their cultivation, nirvana pills were indispensable. It was no surprise that some had lost their minds over them. As the arena erupted into chaos, Lin Dong remained focused. His eyes locked onto the massive pill chamber at the far end of the arena. While he too desired the nirvana pills, he knew the importance of his mission. If he could obtain the life and death reincarnation pill, Little Mink would regain its physical body and swiftly restore its power. With a true powerhouse like Little Mink by his side, the benefits would far outweigh any nirvana pills he could seize here. Moreover, from a purely personal standpoint, Lin Dong had more than enough reason to forego the pills. In his eyes, Little Mink was far more valuable than even millions of nirvana pills. The alchemy arena was extraordinarily vast, and even with Lin Dong's speed, it took several minutes before he arrived in front of the deepest pill chamber. This pill chamber appeared far more ancient than the rest of the arena. The large, yellowed doors bore faint traces of ancient runes, and an elusive energy fluctuation could be sensed emanating from them. Lin Dong's eyes lit up with excitement as he gazed at the ancient pill chamber. Without wasting any time, his primordial energy surged forth, and he punched directly at the door with all his might. Despite Lin Dong's full-force blow, the door did not shatter as expected. Instead, the force rebounded, sending Lin Dong flying backward. He stumbled a few steps before regaining his balance, a look of surprise flashing across his face. This is a protective technique. It can't be broken through by brute force. No matter how powerful your attack is, unless you destroy it completely, it will reflect all the force back at you. Little Mink suddenly appeared, staring at the door for a moment before explaining. Use the devouring ancestral talisman. This barrier may be formidable, but it's been eroded by time. Breaking it won't be too difficult. Knowing that time was of the essence, Lin Dong didn't hesitate. He quickly approached the door, pressing his palm gently against its surface. The power of devouring erupted, slowly eroding the ancient runes on the door. Under the influence of the devouring power, the runes on the door gradually became illusory. After a few moments, they finally dissipated completely. As the runes vanished, the large door rapidly decayed, and with a loud crash, it collapsed in front of Lin Dong. Boom! With the door's collapse, a terrifying wave of pill energy erupted from within the pill chamber, like a volcano that had been sealed for millennia suddenly bursting forth. The pill energy was so dense it became tangible, surging from the chamber and even knocking Lin Dong back. The energy shot into the sky like a towering pillar of smoke, visible for miles. Damn it! Lin Dong couldn't help but curse at the commotion caused by opening the chamber. This disturbance was bound to attract many powerful individuals. Hurry, let's go in. Lin Dong beckoned to Little Yin before darting into the pill chamber like a rabbit. Inside the pill chamber, the lighting wasn't dim. Instead, it was filled with a soft, gentle glow. However, the dense pill energy made it slightly difficult to see clearly. After a brief moment of adjustment, Lin Dong's vision cleared. He glanced around and immediately gasped in shock. The chamber was vast, with towering stone pillars standing throughout. At the top of each pillar hovered a pill, each glowing with a different color. Waves of powerful pill energy radiated from the pills, and it was clear at a glance that none of these were ordinary. Lin Dong's gaze trembled as it swept across the room. After a moment, his eyes locked onto a smooth, silver pill floating atop one of the stone pillars. His entire body shuddered as he murmured, "This is the calamity-repelling pill?" The calamity-repelling pill, also known as the tribulation-transcending pill, was a treasure that every Nirvana stage expert dreamed of. Everyone knew that the greatest fear for a Nirvana stage practitioner was the Nirvana tribulation. Many had perished under its destructive force, but the calamity-repelling pill could increase the chances of surviving the tribulation. It was said that possessing a calamity-repelling pill could give someone a nearly 70% chance of overcoming a Nirvana tribulation. While this might be an exaggeration, it was a testament to the pill's incredible power. So, when Lin Dong saw this legendary calamity-repelling pill, something he had only heard of before, he couldn't help but lose his composure. The Nirvana tribulation was something Lin Dong also feared greatly. Even though he had the protection of the mysterious stone talisman, there were 9 tribulations in total, each more terrifying than the last. He had only passed the first tribulation, and there was no guarantee that he could survive the ones to come. Having the calamity-repelling pill would undoubtedly make things much safer for him. Lin Dong licked his lips, his eyes burning with barely concealed excitement. In the next instant, his body shot forward like lightning as he reached out to grab the calamity-repelling pill atop the stone pillar. This was something he absolutely had to obtain. Lin Dong moved with incredible speed, and in a flash, he appeared right in front of the calamity-repelling pill. His powerful primordial energy surged out, forming a massive hand that reached out to grab the pill. Boom! Just as Lin Dong was about to seize the pill, it suddenly trembled. A surge of terrifying pill energy erupted from it, and in a faint, almost illusionary way, the energy formed a humanoid figure that blocked Lin Dong's grasp. Huh! Lin Dong paused in surprise at the pill's resistance, clearly not expecting a mere pill to fight back. But his surprise lasted only a split second before he regained his composure. With a sly grin, his palm twisted, and a black vortex of devouring energy spread outwards. Hiss! The powerful pill energy was immediately sucked into the vortex upon contact. Lin Dong reached out again, and this time, he successfully grabbed the calamity-repelling pill. As soon as the pill touched his hand, a scorching heat spread from it, and Lin Dong could faintly sense the immense and strange energy contained within. So, this is the calamity-repelling pill, huh? Lin Dong couldn't help but study the legendary pill with curiosity. The pill was silver in color, with intricate pill patterns that circled it like stars. Its shine and texture were of the highest quality. If he were to auction this pill, it would likely fetch at least 3 million Nirvana pills, and even then, it would be nearly impossible to find another. Countless Nirvana stage experts would fight to the death for this pill. Lin Dong flipped his hand and stored the calamity-repelling pill in his cosmic bag. His gaze then turned, burning with desire, toward the other pills on the surrounding stone pillars. Clearly, every single one of them was a rare treasure. Little Yin, take whatever you can. We need to move fast and grab as much as possible. Lin Dong urged Little Yin. They had been the first to arrive here, and with no competition yet, they needed to act quickly. Hearing Lin Dong's command, Little Yin didn't hesitate. He darted forward, black light swirling from his palm as he swept up pill after pill. The two of them flew around the pill chamber, snatching up anything they could. It didn't matter what kind of pill it was or its purpose. If it could be taken, it was collected. After all, opportunities like this didn't come often. Their pill-grabbing speed was incredibly fast, but even so, they couldn't completely empty the chamber before Lin Dong heard the sound of rushing wind from behind. In no time, several figures shot into the pill chamber. Hiss! As soon as these newcomers arrived, they spotted the extraordinary pills atop the stone pillars. Those with sharp eyes immediately gasped in shock, and in that instant, it seemed as though the very blood in their veins started to boil. So, they've arrived? Lin Dong's eyes narrowed slightly as he sensed the movements behind him. By this point, he had already reached the central area of the chamber. He raised his head, his gaze locking onto the center of the room. There, atop an ancient black stone pillar, a pill hovered quietly. Its surface alternated between black and white, as if it embodied the merging of yin and yang. A faint aura of life and death emanated from it, filling the air. The life and death reincarnation pill. At that moment, Lin Dong's mouth went dry, and within the stone talisman, Little Mink's aura surged violently, as if on the verge of going berserk. The black and white pill hovered quietly atop the black stone pillar. Unlike the other pills radiating with powerful pill energy, this one appeared incredibly calm. There was no trace of energy or even the scent of a pill coming from it. It looked more like a smooth, black and white stone rather than a medicinal treasure. However, from Little Mink's nearly uncontrollable reaction within the stone talisman, Lin Dong knew that this was the very thing it had longed for, the item they had struggled so hard to find, the life and death reincarnation pill. Whoosh! Lin Dong's breathing grew heavier as he stared at the pill just within reach. Despite his usual composure, he found himself slightly dizzy from the excitement. With this pill, Little Mink could regain its physical body and possibly restore its peak strength in the future. Taking a deep breath, Lin Dong suppressed the pounding in his heart. Without wasting any more time, he moved to seize the life and death reincarnation pill. Swish! Just as Lin Dong was about to grab it, several sharp gusts of wind suddenly rushed toward him from behind, aimed directly at his vital points. Clearly, the attackers were ruthless. Clang! Clang! Lin Dong's eyes flashed coldly at the incoming attack. However, before he could react, Little Yin swung his black iron staff, smashing the approaching strikes to pieces. Swoosh! In that moment, several figures appeared behind Lin Dong, landing not far from him. Their eyes, filled with greed, locked onto the life and death reincarnation pill atop the black stone pillar. It was obvious they recognized the legendary pill. This pill was said to be able to save a life no matter how grievous the injury, as long as there was still breath left. It was like a talisman of protection, granting its owner an extra life. One of the figures, a man in a green robe, spoke up with a faint smile. You arrived first and have already collected quite a lot of pills. It's best to leave some room for others. Taking everything isn't very considerate, is it? Lin Dong glanced at him, a mocking smile playing on his lips. While he and Little Yin had indeed taken many of the rarer pills, there were still plenty left. They hadn't exactly cleaned out the entire chamber. And what do you propose? Well, the green-robed man gestured toward the life and death reincarnation pill. You were the first to arrive, so it's understandable that you've had some success. But I think it's only fair if you leave this pill to us. What do you say? His voice was light, but there was a clear undertone of threat. With 4 people on their side, 2 of whom had reached the second nirvana stage, their strength was formidable. They far outclassed Lin Dong and Little Yin, who had only reached the first nirvana stage. Lin Dong's eyes narrowed, and his expression turned slightly hostile. You're Lin Dong, aren't you? The one who defeated Shikuan? I've heard you're capable of challenging those at the second nirvana stage. One of the other experts sneered, stepping forward. But I'll give you some advice. Don't get too cocky. If you think you can take on both of us by yourself, feel free to try. A flash of coldness crossed Lin Dong's eyes. Just as he was about to send these 2 flying, Little Mink's voice suddenly echoed in his mind. Let them have it. Lin Dong froze for a moment, then frowned. However, without further protest, he grabbed Little Yin by the arm and stepped back. Big brother. Little Yin looked at Lin Dong, confused. He didn't understand why Lin Dong was suddenly giving in. Haha, brother Lin is quite reasonable, the green-robed man chuckled, unable to hide the smugness in his eyes. He was filled with disdain, thinking that Lin Dong, despite all the rumors, was just a coward. He found it disgraceful that someone like Shikuan had lost to him. The green-robed man shifted his gaze away from Lin Dong and fixated on the life and death reincarnation pill atop the stone pillar. A flash of greed flickered in his eyes, and without any further hesitation, he dashed toward it. With more and more powerful individuals making their way toward the pill chamber, It was clear that the green-robed man intended to seize the most precious treasure before anyone else could arrive. Lin Dong narrowed his eyes as he watched the man charge forward. His hands, hidden in his sleeves, slowly clenched into fists, and a cold killing intent began to flicker in his eyes. Just as Lin Dong was about to intervene, the green-robed man reached out for the life and death reincarnation pill. Hiss hiss. In that moment, an unexpected turn of events occurred. Despite the man's caution, his entire arm radiating a golden light, having activated his nirvana golden body to its maximum, the golden glow quickly dimmed when his hand came within half a foot of the pill. His arm began to wither, turning into a lifeless husk. Ah! A blood-curdling scream escaped the green-robed man's mouth. His withering arm rapidly deteriorated, the decay creeping up toward his body at a speed visible to the naked eye. Slash. In his terror, the man's once proud expression twisted into one of horror. Realizing he had been ensnared, he gritted his teeth and swiftly swung his weapon, severing his own arm to stop the withering from spreading further. Blood sprayed through the air as the man was thrown backward, crashing onto the ground. Clutching his severed arm, he screamed in agony while his companions rushed to his side. Lin Dong, who had witnessed the entire event, inhaled sharply. His eyes were filled with shock as he stared at the life and death reincarnation pill, which continued to hover silently atop the pillar. He had never expected that the pill could be so dangerous, instantly turning the arm of a second Nirvana stage expert into a lifeless skeleton. If he had been the first to rush forward, even with his many techniques, he would likely have suffered significant consequences. It's the ring of life and death? Little Mink's solemn voice echoed in Lin Dong's mind. Ring of life and death? Lin Dong repeated, unfamiliar with the term. This type of life and death reincarnation pill can only be refined by those who have comprehended the life and death profound stage. During the pill's formation, the ring of life and death is born around it. This ring is invisible to the naked eye, but anyone who touches it will have their life force instantly drained, Little Mink explained. I wasn't sure earlier if this pill had a ring of life and death protecting it, which is why I didn't let you go first. But now, we can confirm it. Can you break it? Lin Dong asked, frowning. If the ring of life and death was as dangerous as it seemed, it might mean he couldn't obtain the pill. It's tricky. This type of life and death energy isn't something you Nirvana stage practitioners can withstand, Little Mink muttered, thinking deeply. Life and death energy, Lin Dong pursed his lips, suddenly recalling the old man with black eyes he had encountered in the great wilderness ancient tablet space. That elder had likely reached this mysterious level of power. What do we do now? Lin Dong glanced at the green-robed man, who was still writhing in pain, and asked inwardly, Hold on for now. I need some time to figure out how to break the ring of life and death, Little Mink replied before falling silent, clearly deep in thought. As Little Mink remained quiet, the green-robed man, having finally stopped the bleeding, staggered to his feet, his face ashen. His gaze turned venomous as he stared at Lin Dong, snarling, You knew this would happen, didn't you? You let us go first on purpose. The green-robed man's companions also glared at Lin Dong, their expressions dark with rage. Lin Dong frowned at the accusation, his eyes gradually growing cold as he turned to face the four of them. Your own greed brought this upon you. Now, get lost. You little bastard, you're asking for death. The faces of the four men turned livid at Lin Dong's words, their anger boiling over. Heh, looks like things are getting lively in here. Just as the four men were about to strike, a voice filled with amusement echoed through the chamber. The sound of rushing wind followed, and a figure drifted down from the distance, landing near the black stone pillar. His gaze fell upon the life and death reincarnation pill, and a satisfied smile curled at the corners of his lips. The alchemy arena of the four grand profound sects lives up to its reputation, having even this kind of pill. Lin Dong's eyes narrowed slightly as he watched the figure that had just appeared. His expression grew serious, sensing that the newcomer's aura was far more powerful than that of the green-robed man and his group. This person was clearly not an ordinary second Nirvana stage practitioner. So, finally, a real challenge has shown up. Lin Dong pursed his lips. He could feel the immense strength emanating from the red-robed man. This person clearly had a strong reputation in the northwestern region, though Lin Dong wasn't entirely sure who he was facing yet. It seemed that the fight for the life and death reincarnation pill was about to become even more intense. The man, now standing before them, was clad in a striking red robe, and a faint scent of blood seemed to linger around him. Despite the friendly smile on his face, it was clear to everyone that he was no simple person. The green-robed man and his companions, upon seeing the red-robed man, immediately paled. One of them exclaimed in shock, "Violent Wolf Tianjun? Violent Wolf Tianjun?" Lin Dong's lips tightened slightly, and a serious look crossed his eyes. The four tyrants of the Northwest, a group that included names like Demon Spear Lu Bai, Mountain-Splitting Axe Zhang Shan, Beast Fist Mu Shou, and of course, Violent Wolf Tianjun. Lin Dong hadn't expected that one of the four tyrants, an individual as notorious as Lu Bai, would show up here in person. "Ah, so you're from the Northern Desert Dynasty." The red-robed man glanced at the green-robed men, his smile remaining polite. However, to the green-robed group, that smile sent chills down their spines. Everyone knew that, despite Tianjun's amiable appearance, he was known for his brutal and violent nature. His nickname, Violent Wolf, wasn't earned by being kind-hearted. "And you must be Lin Dong, right? Even that guy Lu Bai holds you in high regard." "Or so I've heard," Tianjun said, shifting his gaze from the green-robed men to Lin Dong with a smile. "We've only met once." "It's not as though I've earned his respect," Lin Dong replied calmly. While Tianjun's aura was indeed formidable, possibly nearing the threshold of undergoing a third nirvana tribulation, Lin Dong was not particularly intimidated. Tianjun was far stronger than the typical second nirvana stage practitioner, but that level of strength wasn't enough to make Lin Dong feel fear. Tianjun's eyes narrowed slightly at Lin Dong's calm demeanor, his large hand clenching for a brief moment. Those who knew him well would have recognized that this meant he was slightly displeased by Lin Dong's attitude. Not long after Tianjun's arrival, more and more powerful figures began pouring into the pill chamber. In just a few minutes, numerous figures had darted in and gathered around the central area. "That's the life and death reincarnation pill?" The newcomer's eyes immediately fixated on the black and white pill floating atop the stone pillar. Shocked murmurs rippled through the crowd. As greedy, heated gazes shot toward the pill from all around, Lin Dong couldn't help but frown. He hadn't anticipated that he would fail to secure the life and death reincarnation pill before drawing attention. "That's Violent Wolf Tianjun. I can't believe he's here too." The intense gazes, which had been focused on the pill, quickly shifted to the red-robed man. Several of the onlookers' expressions changed dramatically. Tianjun's name clearly carried significant weight. Everyone was well aware of Tianjun's nature. He might appear friendly, but he was notorious for his ruthlessness. It was said that not long ago, he had brutally killed a second Nirvana stage expert in a battle. No one wanted to provoke such a dangerous figure. "I'm quite fond of this life and death reincarnation pill. I trust none of you will object to me taking it?" Tianjun smiled as he spoke, his tone light and polite. However, despite the smile, the chamber fell into an uneasy silence. Everyone could sense the violent aura lurking beneath his seemingly gentle words. The green-robed man and his group exchanged uneasy glances. One of them sneered and spoke in a sinister tone. Lin Dong was the first to get here. Although he didn't say much more, his words clearly shifted the attention toward Lin Dong. Tianjun's smile deepened as he turned his gaze back to Lin Dong. "Brother Lin, I assume you have no objections?" Lin Dong glanced indifferently at the green-robed men, then lowered his gaze slightly and replied, "I need the life and death reincarnation pill. If anyone else wants it, they can try their luck." Lin Dong scoffed inwardly. He had endured far too much to reach this point in pursuit of the life and death reincarnation pill. While Tianjun's reputation was formidable, if the man thought his name alone could intimidate Lin Dong into retreating, he was sorely mistaken. The onlookers were momentarily taken aback by Lin Dong's defiant words. A look of sympathy flickered in their eyes. Though they had heard of Lin Dong's victory over Shikuan, Tianjun was on an entirely different level. This ruthless individual had truly slain second Nirvana stage experts before. The green-robed man sneered at Lin Dong's audacity, knowing that Tianjun wouldn't tolerate such defiance. All eyes turned to the red-robed man, whose smile remained in place, though a flash of viciousness flickered beneath it. I don't particularly like it when someone tries to take what's mine. Tianjun slowly clenched his hands as he stepped forward. If you can withstand one of my attacks, then I'll allow you the right to fight me for the life and death reincarnation pill. Lin Dong chuckled inwardly. While Tianjun's arrogance was indeed imposing, Lin Dong found it somewhat foolish. Did this man truly believe that his status as one of the 4 tyrants of the Northwest entitled him to be so brazen? This ancient battleground was teeming with powerful individuals. It wasn't a place where one could act recklessly just because of their reputation. Go ahead, Lin Dong responded calmly. You've got guts. Tianjun grinned, revealing his sharp, white teeth, which sent a chill down the spines of those watching. As the tension between the two escalated, the surrounding crowd quickly retreated. Though they despised Tianjun's overbearing nature, there was no denying his power. Few could match him, and from their perspective, Lin Dong was clearly not one of those few. Tianjun's smile gradually faded, replaced by a growing sense of bloodlust that slowly seeped from his body. His demeanor now matched his infamous title, Violent Wolf. Boom! With a powerful stomp, Tianjun launched himself forward like a wild beast awakening from slumber. His eyes glowed red as he transformed into a streak of red light, leaving behind an afterimage in his wake. Lin Dong, when I fight, I never hold back, regardless of my opponent's strength. If you can't withstand this attack, then you will die. In an instant, Tianjun appeared above Lin Dong. His surging primordial energy gathered rapidly in his palm. 10,000 wolves' army-breaking fist. A deep, chilling voice echoed from Tianjun's throat as the overwhelming energy coalesced into countless wolf-like shadows, each brimming with a savage aura, and then rushed toward Lin Dong with terrifying force. Tianjun was true to his word. He held nothing back. Even the most powerful second Nirvana stage expert would find it difficult to withstand such an attack. If Lin Dong's strength was as it appeared on the surface, this blow could very well end his life. The surrounding onlookers grimaced at Tianjun's brutal approach. His reputation as the most ferocious among the 4 tyrants was well earned. The swarm of wolf shadows rapidly expanded in Lin Dong's vision. His expression grew solemn as he simultaneously activated his primordial energy, spiritual energy, and the power of the devouring ancestral talisman, pouring them all into the cosmic ancient array within his body. Boom! Boom! A unique fusion of gray-black energy erupted from Lin Dong's body, radiating a mysterious, eerie aura. Great Wilderness Celestial Prison Finger. The fusion energy condensed at a rapid pace, transforming into a massive ancient finger. This time, however, it wasn't bright or luminous. It was a haunting gray-black, emanating a strange and powerful force. This was Lin Dong's first attempt at wielding a martial art using the combined power of 3 different energies. The toll it took on his primordial energy, spiritual energy, and devouring power was immense, but the resulting might was undeniable. Boom! The massive gray-black finger wrapped around Lin Dong, carrying an overwhelming momentum as it collided with the rampaging wolf shadows. The entire pill chamber trembled violently from the clash. The onlookers hastily retreated, their faces filled with shock. Even the green-robed man and his companions looked on in astonishment. Lin Dong's attack radiated such terrifying power that even they felt a sense of danger. If they were in his place, they would undoubtedly struggle to withstand such an assault. Wild energy surged like a storm, sweeping through the chamber. Several stone pillars within the chamber exploded under the force of the impact. Swoosh! 2 figures shot out from the aftermath of the explosion, both crashing to the ground and sliding back several steps before finally regaining their balance. In an instant, all eyes turned toward them. The 2 figures who emerged from the clash both had tattered robes, and their primordial energy rippled violently around them. Judging by their appearances, it seemed neither had gained the upper hand. Lin Dong actually withstood Tianjun's attack. The crowd exchanged shocked glances, disbelief evident in their eyes. It was clear that the outcome had left them deeply shaken. Everyone knew that Tianjin never held back, regardless of his opponent's strength. He had said he would only use one move, but the force behind it was powerful enough to seriously injure a typical second Nirvana stage practitioner. And yet, despite that, Lin Dong had managed to block it. This level of strength was far from ordinary. Even the green-robed man and his companions had their eyes narrowed in surprise. They stared at Lin Dong's still calm face and began to understand why he hadn't shown them any respect earlier. It turned out Lin Dong's true combat strength had already surpassed theirs. In the ancient battleground, there are many strong individuals. Those who are too arrogant will eventually hit a wall, Lin Dong said calmly, glancing at the now somewhat grim-looking Tianjin. Without wasting any more time, Lin Dong turned and shot toward the stone pillar where the life and death reincarnation pill floated. His hand reached out to seize it. The ring of life and death that had protected the pill? Little Mink had already found a way to deal with it.